Thank you. Good afternoon. I had two tasks to complete this afternoon. One was rather simple, and the other was rather hard. The relatively simple one was to say a few thank yous. Katrina's actually just done most of that. The much harder one was to try and somehow summarize today into a few sentences, which is completely impossible as a task. So actually, I'm not going to try. I'm rather going to share something which is more like a personal reflection on today, and hope that that has some resonance for you. And actually, as I'm doing that, could we please get the poll back on the screen, the poll results back on the screen? I imagine most of us, most working days, are rather ordinary. It's meetings and deadlines, it's budgets and bloody email. Today, for me, has not been like that. Today has reminded me that VELUX is a very small part of something which is fundamentally important in our lives and in the well-being of humanity, which is rather a grand kind of statement. But if you think about what we have heard, where health is driven by our buildings, health is not such a long way from well-being as a word, and well-being not very far from happiness, and health is a fundamental driver of our happiness as people. So the buildings that we create shape our happiness as people, and those buildings are shaped by us and the other professionals in our industry. And to be reminded of that is a hugely significant thing for me as an individual. I am not an architect by training. I am not a developer. I am sales and marketing as a career professional background. And to feel part of an industry that can make that kind of difference to so many people's lives is a very deeply inspiring thing for me to be part of. I hope today that amongst the many examples that we have seen of how we can make buildings better, and also why that is deeply needed, important that we make buildings better, that you have found inspiration and energy to take back into your working life. And I think that really is, for me, a fantastic result to see up there, because we know, and we heard it in the afternoon breakouts, that journey is challenging. It's complicated, it's hard work, it means reconciling conflicting priorities, and we heard some of that in the conversations this afternoon, and you will need energy to face through those challenges after today, and I hope you found that in today, and I'm very happy to see that at least the results of the survey show that. I'd like to pull my favorite example, and it's a personal example to illustrate that, and it's, you'll perhaps forgive me for choosing one in which VELUX has been more heavily involved, where we worked with Great Gulf and the Ibbotson family who were on stage earlier on. If you have to hold a memory of the energy and the enthusiasm of today, please hold in your mind Russell and Bethany. And remember how they spoke about how that building made a home and a difference to their family and their living experience in that home. Because that, for me, is, for all the fantastic presentations, the deeply scientific research and the insights behind it, the fantastic case examples that we have seen today, it is more people being able to say of their home that they experienced what Russell and Bethany experienced with their family in that home. And if we can deliver that, then we can look back on our working lives with some deep, deep satisfaction. And finally, on that front, I would ask you to spare a thought for Henry Ibbotson. Katrina observed that Henry may well grow up as some kind of super child, having been conceived in that house. I completely believe Henry will grow up strong, determined, smart. I think that will have a lot less to do with the house and much more to do with the fact that Henry will grow up under the stern influence of 3 older sisters. That's it from me by way of a summary. I would, if I may, like to repeat some of the thank yous that Katrina said, but I'll lay them all out and then ask you, if I may, to say thank you with one round of applause. So I would first of all like to thank Katrina for her excellent and energetic facilitation of today and keeping us on track. I would like to say thank you to all of our speakers and our contributors. Without you and the work that you do, we have no agenda. And the day rests on what you have been able to do and bring to us. Thank you for that. I would like to say thank you to the venue, I think they could possibly do with a little bit more ventilation in the roof. That's perhaps something we could help them with, but the venue and all the work that they have done has been spectacular in looking after us. I would also like to say thank you to the tech team and to the translators. And last, but by no means least, to the VELUX team, to the people that helped pull all this together to get you here in many instances, and will hopefully help you get home from here as well. So perhaps we could say thank you once more to all of those people. And I also have one final thank you to say, which Katrina did also say, and that is to you. Because an event such as this lives or dies on what you bring to it, and much more importantly, on what you take from it. So from what you do with what you have been inspired and motivated by today, what you do with that tomorrow in the work that you do day in, day out, changing the built environment that people live in, building healthier buildings, healthier homes. So I would thank you for the time that you have taken to be here. I would wish you a safe journey home. Thank you and good evening.